My computer is broken because I cannot read REEEEEEEEEEEE. So I have a particularly technologically challenged coworker who always drives me up the wall. We'll call him Jeff. Today, Jeff hit a new low. We use a custom proprietary software at work, and we all have production and sandbox links on our desktops, but most people never use the sandbox environment. When you open the sandbox, it's very evident, because you get a pop-up warning you that you're not in production. Not an hour ago, I hear Jeff ranting at his desk because I got a weird pop-up telling me that I'm in sandbox, but I click the same link I always do, so something is screwed up here. I walk over, and as I'm approaching his desk, I assure him that he probably just accidentally clicked the wrong shortcut. It happens. He responds with no, but I click the same link in the same place on my computer that I always do. I look at the open software, and it clearly says he's in the sandbox environment, so I have him close it and show me the shortcut he opened. Again, he insists that it's in the same place I always click to open our software. I point to the shortcut he indicates, and ask what does that shortcut say? Says sandbox. You did click the wrong shortcut. Jeff starts getting more panicked, but then what happened to the old one that was right there? I take 2 seconds to, find the shortcut on his desktop. I point it out, and then quickly walk away before he makes another comment to tip me over the edge. Do you make people open their eyes and read? How do you make people open their eyes and read? Retail has been trying to figure that out for centuries. Same. Been in retail 11 years. This pandemic has proven to me that, with no exaggeration, most customers can't, don't, or refuse to read. I've seen it so many times. Hey, where is your blank at? Definitely not on the aisle labeled blank. I've told this story a handful of times already on Reddit, but it still astounds me. I manage a deli in a small grocery store chain. From the middle of April till July 4th, all delis in the chain were shut down as a safety precaution. We still cut meat and cheese, but we packaged it up and put it out on the sales floor for easy grab and go. I have a 24-feet service case. I posted a sign on every window saying in big bold letters that the deli was closed. There was also 2 or 3 signs on top of the deli case saying the same thing. The salad portion of the case was empty and we kept the lights off. Every day, we had multiple customers come up to the counter, get their face super close to the display, and look around the posted sign to see the meats or cheeses behind it, before attempting to place their order. The ones that didn't do this would literally just place an order, or ask if we were open. One customer even said, "Oh, I didn't even read it because I assumed it wasn't for me." How very self-aware. It was absolutely maddening. No, Carol, you can't have your meat sliced to order. No, Edith, you can't get your ham chipped. People are dying. I assume it wasn't for me. I would have lost my proverbial crap. I'm sorry, do you work here or own the deli? Then who the hell did you assume this was for? Of course, that would have all taken place mentally. Although, someone that damn self-centered needs to be taken down a few pegs. Unfortunately, it was said to another person and I wasn't present, or else I would have said something like, the reason the signs are on the customer side of the counter is so that it is apparent that the sign is for the customer. If the sign was for me, it would be on this side of the counter. I do occasionally have the opportunity to put a customer in their place, which is fun, haha. My mom always points out that I had to be potty trained when I say she should learn how to use a work laptop, as if that is an argument in her favor. I have the learning capacity of a toddler is not a good argument. To be fair, after reading these, and my own users do in fact have the learning capacity of a toddler. It doesn't work, you read the instructions. No. Tell me how to make it work. Sigh. Oh come now, don't compare toddlers to users, that's unfair. Toddlers learn eventually. Hell, that's exceptionally unfair to toddlers. They want to learn. To do what mommy and daddy are doing. Some adults do not like the change. And just like the real life coinage, they feel shorted when things don't go right. To be fair, I'm not a tech support person, but my god do I love this sub-stories. Please, computer, just turn on and let me poke you in jest when you're slow to start working fine again. Do I understand the ones with a lot of lingo and tech jargon? Not really, but I can get the gist of it or I'm free to skip it. The older I get the more I hate change too. But dang if I don't adapt. Now, if it's particularly stupid change I'll do everything in my power to fight around it. Do you make people open their eyes and read? If someone figures out how to do this we're all out of a job. You do it by not having corporate minions who think tech support goofs off all the time. But that will never happen. Hell, that is the reason we have ticketing systems. Bets that he never actually looks at his icons and simply knows that important program is the third one down in the second row or whatever and works on autopilot by following a script to do what he needs to. A lot of users do that because they don't get, and have never been taught, the underlying logic in how OSs work. To him, double-clicking the right icon is just a completely arbitrary prayer to the computer gods. In his mind, if you told him that the way to open the program was to touch the tip of his nose with his right index finger while dialing his home phone number on the numeric keypad with his left middle finger, that would seem to him to make about as much sense as being told to double-click the icon. To him, using a computer means rote following a complex and invariable script which has no actual meaning. If his icon moves a few centimeters down, he can no longer follow the script, because the icon isn't in the right place, so therefore to him the computer is broken. So who's the real computer there? The user who can't comprehend anything outside of his script, or the desktop who also can't do anything outside of running its script? Computers can be made to find the icon if it moves. Humans, not so much. Had a similar situation once. I was called and told that I didn't install Outlook on someone's new computer. Outlook is part of the image we had, and so I knew it was going to be something silly. Sure enough, I was up there and he explains to me that it's not installed. His logic was if there wasn't a shortcut on his desktop, then it wasn't installed on his computer. I tried explaining to him to click on the start button and then scroll down until he found Outlook. He still couldn't do it. It's not that I don't want to help people. However, there needs to be just some sort of baseline that everyone needs to have when it comes to things like this. If you work on computers all day, you need to know the bare minimum. My company does manufacturing, and you can bet if we had line operators asking stuff like this, it would become a problem for them. However, office users get a lot of passes. In my opinion and what I've seen. I've said for decades we need a 6th grade IQ test for users. I'd be terrified it would be a ghost town in every office I've been in. Things like this are why I wish IT was exempt from HR complaints. Users know we will baby them because we will get in trouble if we don't. If users thought they may get called on the carpet for being stupid, they may put some effort into not having us come to their desk. Document. If a client's being an ass, it gets documented. Because when they inevitably complain, you then have a paper trail of crappy behavior. This sort of thing happens when you run life in full auto for too long. Everyone does it to some intent. It's how you turn up at work and realize you have zero memory of the journey driving there. Another instance is where you're doing a repetitive task for a long time and get interrupted, then spend the next 40 seconds trying to figure out how to do the task. In general, mindfulness is really hard for a lot of people. I did that driving home from college once. I completely zoned out. I didn't and still don't truly remember any detail from the drive. I left campus and then I was in my driveway. Scared the living hell out of me. Yep, I've had that moment of passing mile marker 327, blinking, and then passing mile marker 302. The startling realization that 25 minutes of dark highway hadn't registered in my brain made me sign up for Audible so I would have something to engage my mind on those long midnight drives. It's like when people get upset that their password expired and that they're locked out of their account. I let them know to prevent this from happening they can read the email warnings that come in more frequently as the expiration date nears. I had a user tell me she received no such emails. I go to her Outlook and see she hasn't opened her Outlook in a month and find the string of warning emails and show her. She then denies that she ever received them and that I just sent them, even though they're literally time and date stamped. She hasn't opened Outlook in a month and still has a job. I don't know how some of these people are still employed. There was this lady whose sole job was to scan business cards. I went up to fix her scanner because it wasn't working. She had a small CRT TV at her desk and was watching golf. Apparently the scanner was broken for months and she needs it fixed ASAP cause she's behind on work. This lady didn't do her job for 3 months and got paid to watch TV before deciding to call IT lol. Scanner wasn't even broken, it just needed new drivers to work after an OS update. I wish I could sit back for 3 months and get paid. Instead, I just helped someone figure out how to use the VPN to access his work files for the first time since the peeping pandemic started. Yeah, I'm thinking of quitting IT. Sometimes the clue stick needs to be an actual stick you whack them with. Clue by 4.
P-U-M-A-S.
It is a percussive user maintenance and adjustment system. The scary thing is, some people really do just memorize the sequence of where you need to click when in order to get something done. This indicates a fundamental lack of understanding of what they're working with and what their operations do. With people like that, if you move their cheese at all, they can't function, and they have to take time to commit the new magic ritual to memory. Sadly, a lot of that is how their coworker trained them. Click here, If that doesn't work, call IT. Then as the years go, it gets worse and worse until you have someone saying that they don't know why they do something. They just know they need to do it. One of my favorite sayings in cases like this is, if it was a snake it would have bit you. Comprehension 101 fail. Can you imagine if the only way to tell if you're in a sandbox or test environment wasn't as simple as the word sandbox all over the screen? Okay, so you know the opening to the Deadpool movie, where things are slowly flying around the screen and all the text is a joke, like produced by some monkey with a keyboard. Okay, so my now ex-wife and I are at the theater watching this unfold, and the whole theater is laughing their collective ass off. And she leans over and asks me what's so funny. Like, are you not reading the giant text on the screen? No. I mean, how do you even see giant text slowly moving across a screen and actively avoid reading it? My point being, she is now my ex-wife, and some people just cannot, and will not read what is plainly in front of them. There is nothing you can do about these types of people, but somehow they still function on the world we live in. It took me a while to realize that not everyone automatically reads any text that makes it into their field of vision. Like you implied, I would have to actively make a choice not to read it. Whereas for some people, reading takes work, and some people can barely read at all, but have learned strategies to get by. I suspect some of them have undiagnosed dyslexia. It was a strange day when I realized people out there can apparently choose whether or not to read something that they're looking at. Like, how does that even work? I'm sorry, I try. No try do. Yoda. Good old cargo cult computer use. The good old Alt-85 error. Do you make people open their eyes and read? Why the hell would you want that? If everyone suddenly opened their eyes and read the errors, or God forbid the manuals, half of us would lose our jobs straight away. Half again would lose them if those same users suddenly figured out that mostly if you copy the error text and paste it to Google, you either get the answer or your first clue where to seek it out. I'm honestly terrified when users Googled the error and the fixes didn't work. That usually means they went and deleted some necessary component or went and changed settings that they didn't understand. I recently had a user ruin a 600 part on their printer by somehow finding the service password to the printer's onboard GUI and turning up the printhead heat setting as high as it would go. You can't. We are working out of a trailer right outside of our new building while renovations are being finished, and we have a large sign that says all pickups and drop-offs will be accepted in the trailer, but people still try and go right inside the locked, dark, unfinished building with no windows. I don't get it. That sounds like an anxiety reaction. Panic and anxiety basically turn off your ability to reason. Jeff probably has some issues to work out. That's an understatement. A lot of people are like this. Lots of crap on my local Facebook groups of people asking the same stupid questions over and over again because they can't be bothered to spend 5 minutes reading or looking for something themselves. I'm at the point I think it's time we cut off the low-hanging fruit with a horizontal guillotine. Do you ever ask someone to read what the pop-up says and they summarize it to what they think it says? I'm like, no, read what it says. All the words. All the time. They think they're helping by ignoring all the gibberish nonsense words, but that's often the helpful part. Way more than the story you just told me that's unrelated to your PC problems.